everybody. I am Kelly Mallozzi, Vice President and Program Director of Girls Who Print, and we are about to go to church with my friend Emma Farquharson. You might
Preach.
you might feel a little bit of like that name. It's so familiar to me. And when you say that name, you might think of a gigantic giraffe of a man who's a dear friend of mine named Bill. So all that is to say, Emma Farquharson, Dr. Emma Farquharson, excuse me,
Indeed.
I have known you a good part of your life.
Of
And I
20
am,
years of my life. You're saying middle
yes,
school, right?
yes. I've heard about you for years. Bill is the proudest papa that ever papaed. And so it has been a true joy to kind of hear about you and then meet you several times in person, collaborate with you, have coffee with you, have meals
Love
and
it.
walks with you, and watch as you step into a tremendous power. So,
Thank you so
Emma.
much.
Dr. Emma, I would love to welcome you to this world that you're already in. And I would love it if you could just spend a few minutes talking about who you are, what you do, and how your work helps move the print industry forward.
Oh my gosh, just a couple of light openings. Well, thank you for the warm welcome. I'm really honored to be here. I love talking about strong women with other strong women, inspiring other strong women. My whole body is resonating with this. I'm very excited to talk. So again, I am the excited ball known as Emma the Other Farquharson. I'm the CEO and I'm the co-founder of Shared Intel AI. So we work with exclusively print shops and trade printers and franchises, et cetera, the whole print industry. People who are dabbling with AI and automation, but they're not really, they're just not seeing actual results, on paper results. So typically what they've got is people copying data between systems, antiquated systems, by the way, rekeying quotes or manually chasing jobs through a CRM to an MIS, et cetera, et cetera. So what we do at Shared Intel AI is we map those workflows for our clients from the beginning to the end to get a bird's eye view of where things are right now, where your people are and your systems. We identify 2 to 3 automations that are going to save the most hours or stop the most errors. And then we're going to either implement a coordinated, very specific solution, for example, automating people's entire customer communication pipeline inside of their CRMs and in their writing style, or like sending online orders that will go straight into the MIS without retyping everything. It seems like little things, but it's actually what causes most of the bloat that stops the humans from doing the valuable human work that allows for their differentiators. And then once you've created space, right, because it's a sequence, you need to know your systems, you need to know what's going on because we're about to radically change business. You need to know where your highest potential ROI, AI and automation is. Put automation in first because it stabilizes and creates space from bloat that we shouldn't be doing, right? It's insane that we're doing this. And then after that, we create customized training. We add that extra layer on top so that the people that are on the teams will have workflows for AI that's within their data and their tools and their workflows. We don't give a million tools. It's focused on how do we incorporate it into what you're doing now because it did work for a reason, but we just need to tweak it. So to answer your question, that's how we move the print industry. That's how I help move the print industry is that we give teams their time back and their focus back by freeing print professionals from the unbelievably low value work, and we equip them with the AI skills that they need to confidently drive new innovation and value. And then we create that capacity in the whole team from the top down and the down up for the kind of creativity and resilience and space for humanity that I believe the print industry desperately needs now and next. What do you do?
Wow.
Yeah.
I
So
think
it's
people are going to want to go back and hear that a couple of times, but it really does sound like a support system that covers it from end to end, right? So that no
yeah.
matter where a
Mhm.
person or an organization is, they can
Right.
they can embrace this, right?
But it's not just the initial, what can we do for you? Here's your fix and leave. I want to see how to help you now without capital. I want to see how to help you with that capital. I want to see how you'll come back,
Yeah.
right? How you'll come back and I'll still be here. I'll still know your stack and we'll still drive the next thing forward, right? It's not a let me just do this part of your cycle. I remember your whole cycle. That's one of the superpowers of being a super nerd, right? That's the PhD.
Right.
The AI
Well,
note-taking apps, that too.
speaking of that, I really do want to spend a good part of this conversation talking about you specifically, because I
Hmm.
do believe that there are a lot of people out there that need to understand your trajectory. And so I really do want to dive into what does making your move mean to you at this stage of your career?
I would say that for me, making my move is about still showing up. I'm 32, and not everybody does that. Where I'm seeing a lot of my age group and my friends who are very drained and disempowered right now from all that's been going on the past few years and beyond. Stop. And I don't really separate my career from who I am as a person because my work is an extension of my values. So, I make my move, and making my move in my career means, owning my expertise, my ambition, and then whatever my next step is in a way that's going to stay aligned with my integrity. And I know that sounds kind of woo-woo and people love saying that, but I'm obsessed with integrity. I really am. So if you're saying owning my expertise, I come from a STEM background and a research driven background. I was I developed food and water diagnostics out of viruses that infect bacteria to be able to test if water is safe in developing countries. So I bring a lot of rigor to how I evaluate AI and automation in a space that's very noisy. And it's
Yeah.
actually often even exploitative, especially for an aging population, which is a lot of the print industry. So
Yes.
my move in that owning my expertise piece is that I stand in that more logical thinking expertise and then my listening capabilities to bring in the human side for the ambition. AI in print is new and it's really messy and it's often misunderstood, but someone has to figure it out in a way that isn't just milking fear or ignorance, especially in the print industry. Those are our people. Sorry to, but still, those are our people. So my
Right.
ambition isn't to maximize the billables. It's to help build systems and skills that are going to actually improve people's working lives and their margins, and more importantly, Kelly, their mental load. Like
Yeah.
honestly, the distress. I'm working with mainly C-suites and executives that come in and talk to me, but the level of pure distress from them, I want to just all I can see is their inner child. I know again
Yeah.
sounds woo-woo, but I just want to hug them because I feel it too. I'm sure you do as
Yeah.
well. And
Well, the way it shows up for you, I think, from an external perspective, is that the rigor that you talked about with your academic background is like a foundation of that confidence because I want to say the word again, confidence. You
yeah,
exude a confidence that is inspiring, and
so
it is regardless of gender or age or educational background or any of it. So I really, really commend and appreciate and am myself inspired by that. So let's take a minute because again, I want to kind of keep this focused on you. Share a moment with for to everybody who's watching this where you took action that moved your career forward.
well, I'm going to stick in a big tonal thing here and talk about that switch from my 14 years of deeply dedicated service to science and then making the career move to step into the print space to help my extended print family, because that's really what I view that as. It's hard to find people who show up for you. I think the print industry still shows up. A lot of them still remembered my name. They remembered when they saw me last, even if it had been 10, 15 years. And I watched that in the print industry disappear in the last 5 years ago. So that move is that change is huge. So it's one of the most important for me. It really wasn't that glamorous leap, and it wasn't deciding to move at all when it was the fact that I moved when I felt unbelievably overwhelmed. That's the move that I would say that's the moment where I took action and that moved my career forward. And I know it's kind of meta, but stay with me because there have been times in my career where the combination of ADHD and autism and the sheer volume of decisions that we're asked to sort through on a daily basis, it left me frozen because I pushed and pushed and pushed to be excellent. Uh, However, and I know I'm not alone in that, after the pandemic, a lot of people came out overwhelmed and unemployed or underemployed and just trying to survive that noise. And the moment that I would say really moved my career forward was specifically when I made the mental choice to choose any honest, aligned action on my list instead of staying frozen. So I
Mm,
call it a one-step mindset. So what I mean by that is when everything feels way too much, which happens a lot. So this also happens internally for me a lot. I commit to a single single clear step that's true to my values, and then I take that step. It doesn't have to be big because you either did nothing or you did something, but doing something like this big is still doing something. That
right.
might look really, really small from the outside, sending a message or starting a project or having an uncomfortable conversation that could backfire on you, even when you do it respectfully. But
Mm,
it is really, really powerful because most people, Kelly, in my opinion, are repeating about 80% of their life on autopilot. And then they're going to blink and it'll be 65 without ever realizing that, or without ever like sitting really with the fact that they didn't do anything that mattered to them. They were in
mhm,
scarcity mindset and they didn't do anything that helped anybody else. And that state of wanting to care for other people is where we started as humans, right? So for
mm.
me, that decision to move, even if it was imperfectly, that's what shifted my career. And it's kind of a, am I allowed to swear on the show?
Yeah,
It's a
I
fuck
think
this. It's a fuck this. No, honestly, it's a what am I doing this for? Who am I jumping for?
right.
Because in all actuality, people can't remember to answer your email. You think they're gonna remember the mistake you made? Well, maybe. I do fall up the stairs and it is hilarious because I do a lot of this. But my point being is it's the for me, the decision to move even imperfectly, being able to alter that in my career, it's the same energy now because it's every day. Every day being in alignment means I don't waste energy because it takes energy to mask. Women know it especially.
Yeah,
Fawning and all these little games that we all play that we had to play. We do not have to play that anymore. And so
yeah,
owning that space is the move.
yeah. And I think too, it just makes me think of this, and I know that they didn't invent this phrase, but the notion that no one is coming, right? I think a lot of people out there are waiting for someone to tap them on the shoulder and go, hey, it's time for a promotion. It's time to change
Uh,
jobs, right? And what I'm hearing you saying and all of what you just said is like, you stepped into it. You made the choice.
yep,
You decided to turn that frozenness into action, which resulted in
right,
you being the CEO of a of a corporation that is operating everywhere in the world right now. So
yes,
that
yep,
is amazing. Um, and so I think we definitely talked about timing, right? And I think that what you would want people to take away is the time is now, like, right? Like stop
yes,
hesitating. But let's talk about some
exactly.
advice that you would give, right? Because there are going to be thousands of women that are going to watch this video and they are going to be thinking about their next move, right? Because to your point, stagnation is I'm just going to hang in till retirement or I'm going to hang in until that promotion comes. But what would you tell women as they're thinking about how to make their next move?
It's a sequence of moves, actually. So the first thing I'd say is don't do it alone. It's a buzzkill and you don't have to do it, right? If you're a woman in print and you're about to make your next move, find your people. Find
Yeah.
someone who genuinely wants to see you win. That might be like a mentor or a peer group or a community like Girls Who Print, right? Or
Yeah.
yes, you know what? Someone like me. I offer free 30-minute conversations for exactly this reason, because sometimes you just need another human who actually cares to sit with you and ask, okay, what's possible here? And so with that first, find your people, right? Find someone who wants to help you. You already found one. Check. Done, ladies. What's next? From there, I want you to make it concrete. Write it down. I know why you don't want to write it down. Write it down. Not the perfect list, keep writing the list, right? All the possible ones, all the different ideas that you have of what you could do, because there's a reason why you thought you could do it. You're not stupid. You have logical progression in your brain, all of the possible ones in your head. You get them out of your brain, you put them onto a page, because as long as they're swirling in your mind, it's just noise. So you can't hear the next thought, and you also can't sort through them. So then after you've got all those written down, and this is not just because I'm an AI, hear me out. This is me advocating for my process. I then want you to turn to AI and use it as a thinking partner, not a crystal ball, right? That's stupid. That's not how that works. It's a mirror, okay? That's sick and fancy, right? It's a mirror. So I want you to open up Claude or ChatGPT. Most of you are on ChatGPT. Then I want to double check that you have gone to data controls and turned off share for everybody in the model. And then I want you to ask it. So this is I have a little thing written down over here. This is the prompt that you're going to write. You're going to say, these are the moves that I'm considering. Ask me 10 questions that will help me figure out the pros and cons. Or here's another one. Here's my second one. Help me think through what this would mean for my day to day, right? Because it's my atomic habits for the day to day. So you're not or outsourcing your judgment here. You're creating that structured echo chamber that's going to reflect you back to yourself, which we're only good at listening to ourselves anyway, so it works out. And because these tools learn our patterns over time, that can actually be a surprisingly good mirror for our own thinking if you're using it intentionally. And then the last thing I want to say, this is my last caveat, and I want to add it, especially for women, because I know there's compassion fatigue. I want you to try and re-engage with your compassion and your authenticity to a one-step degree every single day. It's a practice. We are very good as women at creating community, about caring about others, about holding space together. And that is not fluff, Kelly. That is value. So
Yeah.
if you're in a place where you can't take up space, which I know a lot of you are, and also I want to just give the kudos to the women in the ages above me who didn't have the same palpit that I did, who didn't have the still allowance. You can even bring up your period at work without it being a huge issue. Some of the horror stories I hear from my mother and from you, Kelly,
Yeah.
I know it's hindsight bias, but I will flip those tables right now, I swear to God. So my advice in a sentence is I want you to find community that actually cares about you. Hi, that's us. That's you and I. And then I
Yeah.
want you to write your possibilities down. I want you to use AI as a serious thinking partner. And then I want you to take up the space that you're supposed to hold. Because when women in print move, everyone benefits. It's all I've ever seen. I have never seen an example of that not the case. We don't stop loving the rest of the industry. We don't make it an us versus them just because we finally claimed our seat at the table.
I, you may have seen me go like this during that when you talked about feeding the intentions and the goals into AI because you framed it as a thinking partner. And
Mhm.
that is the realest reel that ever reeled. Like that is absolutely a genius
Check,
way of
check, check, check,
thinking
check.
about it. I absolutely love it. So we're getting close to the end, unfortunately, because I would give anything to just stay on a call with you all day long because I feel energized and I feel motivated and I feel inspired. But let's talk again back to you for a moment. If you were going to write your career memoir right now, this is so fun. What would the title be, and who would you ask to write the foreword?
So if I wrote my career memoir right now, I think I'd probably call it Damn Girl, Check Out That Impact. I'm not kidding, right? And,
Yes.
and I mean in a really, really non-typical way. It's not, Damn Girl, look how fancy your career is. It's more like, Damn Girl, look how many times that you were completely off the conventional path, how many times you fell on your face and you still chose to get back up and then orient around impact. Look how many times you kept caring about the bigger picture when it would have been so much easier for you to just do the expected thing. And look how you built an atypical life around wanting other people's works and lives to feel and be better too. So, who would write my forward? I'm going to go ahead and say the strategic answer is that I'm obviously going to have Bill Farquharson write that forward. He's my dad, but I'm also not stupid because authority signals are authority signals. AEO, GEO, SEO, it's all real and it looks really good on the cover of a magazine. But that's just the cheeky answer. My actual answer is that I would write the forward and I'd write it for the non-typical people, and I'd write it in a non-typical way because I want for the people who look at their path and they think this doesn't look like what it's supposed to look like, which has some truth in it. It just means that you're out of alignment. That's the truth part, but that's the end of the truth part.
Yeah.
But there are people who still care really, really deeply about impact. And it's really, that's compassion fatigue, right? When you really care about impact and you're not just choked off from it, but you're slammed down from it. So I'd but the other thing I do, Kelly, is I'd also take that forward and I would ask for a reality check from the people who are important to me and who have been in the trenches with me, not to polish my image or anything like that, but to make sure that the way that it actually reads is you're not broken for being different. You're needed for the space you take up. So I'd say my damn girl, check out the impact. And then I'd write my own forward and ask the people I care about to make sure that that's what they hear, because it's not just about what I say, it's about how it's received.
I love everything about that. I have watched you step off a stage and be swarmed by people who just wanted a little bit more. And I know that every time you step off a stage, you probably get bombarded, and the industry needs you so much. I hope it's
So
not
much.
too overstepping to say I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
As
it's not.
someone
I
who's
really
known you for
appreciate that.
20 years, I feel very proud. I also feel very hopeful when I talk to people like you because I feel like the industry is going to be in good hands.
I
I'm
see good
inspired
things.
by you. I want to encourage everyone that's watching to connect with Emma on LinkedIn, follow her. She is here for us. We are here for her. We are in this community together. Emma, I very much found so much useful about this conversation, and I know others will also. I want to thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And I will leave you with this, my friends. Empower long and prosper.